Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 21st, and this is search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at saroundtable.com over the past week. First up, there potentially was a somewhat of a small to medium-sized Google update that happened on Monday and Tuesday, specifically the days I was out for Passover. But in any event, it definitely does seem like there was some type of update that happened. There was a lot of chatter in the various forums, including the Black Hat forums as well as the White Hat forums, and there was a lot of chatter on Twitter. And many of the tools actually lit up. So you can see Moz showing high numbers, SERP Metrics, Alguru, Rank Ranger, even SEMrush, the new one. They're all showing huge weather reports or volatility in the Google search results on those dates. So there potentially was a Google update. Google would not comment on it, which is not unusual. Google released their Webspam report for 2016. So they've done this the past 2 years at least, where they actually document what they've done to kind of keep web spam out of the Google search results. So some of the metrics that were fairly interesting to me was in their new report, they went ahead and said they sent out over 9 million messages to site owners about spam issues on their website. The year before that, in 2015, they sent out over 4.3 million. So this is over double from 2015 to 2016 in terms of the messages or manual actions or whatever you want to call them. In terms of what was being sent out, which is very interesting. Google also said that they received over 180,000 users submitted spam reports in 2016, but in 2015 they actually said they submitted over 400,000. So more than double they received the previous year than this year. So people are submitting less of these spam reports, which is pretty interesting. And they say they acted on about 52% of those and so forth, because those were actually the ones that were spammed, the rest were not. Google also talked about their Penguin algorithm going real time. They said they took more than, I think, 100,000. I have a typo here, I think. Or actually, maybe not. 10,000 sites had manual actions for structured data issues, and they also saw a 32% increase in hacked sites compared to 2015, which is actually a smaller increase than the year before, but there still is obviously an increase and uptick in those numbers. So those are some interesting stats that Google shared with us. I posted a poll while I was out asking if your site was hit in any way by the Fred algorithm. So we have, let's take a look now, about 600 plus 700 or so votes, 692 votes in total, so about 700 votes with people, and it's kind of split, in terms of were you hit by the Fred algorithm or not, but clearly over 300 people who took the poll said they were hit. So definitely there is something Fred related out there, and Google did confirm it, but they wouldn't talk more about it as we discussed. John Mueller said that when the Google Mobile Index first index goes live, it will have some effect on Google's link graph. John Mueller said this in a response saying, in response to the question is, will a mobile first index affect the web's link graph in a major way since the mobile sites use fewer links? And John Mueller said, basically said, he's meant to say in some ways, definitely. In a major way, I doubt it. Again, Google's trying to release this mobile first index in a net neutral way so that it doesn't have that much of an impact on the search results that are currently out there. And obviously, if it has a major impact on the link graph, it will not have a neutral effect on those search results, and thus Google will not launch it. So it will have some impact. The question is how much, and Google is trying to make that as neutral as possible. Mozcast, which tracks Google's search results and so forth, said that now the HTTPS results are about 50%. So of the first page results, they're about 50% of those first page results have HTTPS listings in the top results of those things that Moz is tracking, which again is a trend that you've been seeing. So just in October it was 40%, in January 2016 it was 25%. So that trend is obviously going upwards, as you can see from this chart. Google says you should definitely use the site command to find what your canonical URL is. So if you do a search in Google for a URL and Google is actually showing a different URL, that means that Google thinks that whatever URL you put in is actually a canonical version or a duplicate version of another URL, and Google's going to show you the canonical version, which is the main version that they think should be ranking for that keyword. It's a good SEO audit tool, and if you're not using it, you should definitely use that info command. So we did a poll, and I wanted to share the results, so I shared them on this week, and basically asking, what is the time it takes you to reach SEO success? And the vast majority said, I think it was like 90% said it takes within a year, but here's the breakdown. 14% said, let me zoom in there so you can see it a little better. So 14% said it takes between 1 and 3 months, 49% said 4 to 12 months, 27% said 6 to 12 months, and 7% said 9 to 16 months, and only about 3% said it'll take a little bit longer than 16 months to achieve their success. And obviously, success is a relative word, but I think it's still a good metric in terms of figuring that out. Google is testing suggested clips and videos. This is pretty cool. So this is spotted by Ryan Roden. So if you do a search, I was able to replicate it one time, but not the other time. And if you do a search, it basically shows you this suggested clip. I guess it's 25 seconds in. So if you hit play from the Google search results, it's going to skip the whole intro and then goes directly to the answer, which is a nice feature. It's hard to actually bring up video results for answers now that feature snippets are very, very popular, which are text-based results, text-based answers. But when videos come up, typically you get these how-to videos and you have to listen to like 10, 20, 30, 40, up to a minute or more of introduction from the person showing you how to do the answer. This Google feature actually skips all that and goes right to the answer, which is a nice feature to see. Google's trying a new design for tags in the search snippet. So the week before, a couple weeks ago, we actually covered how Google is showing these tags. So you can see here it shows tags. This is the previous design. The new version just doesn't even reference those tags. It just says tags at the bottom without even calling them tags and lowercases them and so forth. This is, I think, a much more subtle and nicer way to actually implement this. The Wall Street Journal said that Chrome will be adding an ad blocker to their Chrome browser, which is, I think it has almost 50% market share in terms of browsers. The cool thing about that is actually it's going to be default, according to Wall Street Journal, saying that by default, Google Chrome will actually have the ad blocker on by default. Obviously, this is very funny because Google is one of the main ad distributors on the internet, and because of that, will they block their own ads and so forth? And they're using, I don't know, all this is very speculative and rumorish, but Wall Street Journal published it, so we'll see what happens. I think Google kind of leaked this information to the Wall Street Journal to see what the feedback would be across the web and how they should actually launch it, or if they should launch it at all. So we'll see. Google My Business added bulk downloads for Insight Analytics. So if you have multiple locations, you're able to download your locations, but now you can also download your insights. Insights are basically the Google My Business analytics to show you how many people clicked on your maps, searched for your words, clicked on driving directions, clicked on your phone number, use the form to contact you. And there's all these different data columns that will actually be imported, including total searches, direct searches, discovery searches, total views, search views, map views, total actions, website actions, direction actions, and phone call actions. So that's a pretty cool feature for local SEOs and those who manage lots and lots of locations for their own company or for third-party companies. Finally, Google Home now can understand and detect and respond to different voices. So it now has multiple user support. I always wanted my home. I have a Google Home in my kitchen, multiple kids and whatever, and people talk to it and ask them very personal questions. How old am I? Stuff like that. And Google Home really doesn't know who it was talking to. Now, technically, you could actually link to different. Google Home could actually understand who you are by just talking to it, and it can actually know it's me versus my wife versus somebody else. I don't think it supports kids yet. Children would be nice if it did, but obviously there's privacy issues with that. In any event, this is pretty cool. I definitely recommend checking it out, and it's really crazy and saying that Google could actually determine your voice versus that person's voice versus the other person's voice, which is pretty insane. I'm sure they've been doing this for a while, but now it's clearly demonstrated in the Google Home device. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Today, again, it's Friday, April 21st, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.